It would be great to have one coherent narrative about one's work. I think this is difficult to construct for me. What I was interested in, I think if I would try to approach to have a description, to approach a description which is one coherent thing, one coherent theme of my work, then it would be epistemologies that can be oriented beyond a neurocentrism or beyond the cognitive sphere, so to speak, and to see epistemological production being engaged with performance, being engaged with orientations and formations in space, for example. This sounds very abstract, but this is the most general way I can put it. But maybe I can make it more concrete by describing the research project I worked on in the framework of the Marie Curie Fellowship in Copenhagen. And this would be to see if the notion Bruno Latour and at the time Peter Weibel, who unfortunately passed as well a few months after Bruno Latour had left us, the notion of thought exhibition. That's in German would be Gedankenausstellung. It's a term derived from the history of science notion of thought experiment. So you have a situation you have a hypothesis about, but the situation you can't test it because it's too complex. For example, climate change, or the way we approach or we think about our relation to the earth we inhabit, which very much is a relation of extractivism and dominance. We as a human species, that's a very big we, and I'm aware of the fact that I shouldn't speak with this very general we, but let's see, some of the Western or European members of societies have a very distant relationship to the earth or the world we inhabit, so to speak. And how can we change that? How can we use, as Latour tried to do with Peter Weibel and many, many more curators, how can we use the heterotropical space, to speak with Foucault, of the exhibition of the museum, which is a space where realism is suspended, so to speak, where you can try a lot of different things of spatial aesthetics to relate to objects you encounter, to relate to performances, to relate to other visitors. How can you use this very heterotopical space to negotiate a new position to the world we live in? And the Critical Zones project you referred to, where I was part of, so to speak, was very much an approach to try that. And this interests me a lot because, again, I worked with exhibitions quite extensively, also with Siegfried Zielinski, the Ramalul exhibition, the Alas Automaton exhibition, and we also realized together an exhibition which I haven't mentioned yet about the life and legacy of Wilhelm Flusser. The exhibition was called Wilhelm Flusser and the Arts. He collaborated a lot with artists and so on. And I was always interested into how present an exhibition not only as a collection of objects people are juxtaposed to, and the distant visitor's gaze contemplating the art, but also being in a position of distance and no risk, so to speak, being distant to the things we approach in the exhibition. How can you turn it around? How can you make it a space which in fact would be a Gedankenausstellung, a thought exhibition, an exhibition that makes you approach new ways of thinking, even if they can be inconvenient, and to engage new ideas about history. What happens if we tell the history of the automatons, not from Renaissance, but go a few years back, 300 years back maybe, and located in Baghdad at the House of Wisdom at the time? What does it mean for our big narratives of, the cradle of culture has been increased? What does that mean? And what does it mean for a dialogue between cultures and religions, which are unfortunately even today in times at odds, radically, unfortunately. So what does it mean? How can exhibitions and aesthetic formations of ideas challenge our own ideas about the world and make us see hidden biases in how we perceive the world, our own history, our relation to other people? And I think this is the most general way I can put it. And this might be very much actually, now that I talk about it, I notice this might be very much informed by my deep scholarship into the work of Wilhelm Flusser. As I mentioned in the beginning, I worked with his archive and legacy since many, many years. I published extensively on his work, and he was very much influenced by, as a Jewish philosopher, by the work of Martin Buber and in part Emmanuel Levinas. And how can we, learn about ourselves by encountering the other in a general way, the other as new information, new situations, but also people we do not know yet. And what can we learn about ourselves and our being in the world?
Is this part of what you're going to develop in Leuphana, in your new stage now?
It certainly will be. There will be a lot of teaching in Leuphana, so I try to give a general overview about the things I'm interested in. I will certainly teach one seminar, because I couldn't help myself, about the legacy of Wilhelm Flusser. This will be a Bachelor of Arts seminar, so I try to give an overview about his, of course, media theoretical work. This is what he is most known for, especially in Europe. But I try to go beyond that. So it's something I like to do. I use a thinker which Flusser passed in 1991. But his work, in my perspective, is still very relevant today. But in order to show that, I try to juxtapose each of his key texts with a contemporary or a current thinker. So I try to juxtapose Flusser's dialogue, or philosophy of dialogue, which is very much influenced, as I mentioned, by Buber or Levinas, with Laurent Ballon's notion of the inconvenience of other people, to have a tension here. And I try to do this in every session. And the other things I will work about is, in fact, I will teach about the notion of thought exhibition and some curatorial studies. The students I will teach there, some of them might have a background in art history, but mostly they are interested in media aesthetics. And I think that the exhibition is a very strong medium we sometimes forget in media studies. But if we want to talk about media aesthetics, this could be a way to reintroduce the exhibition in a discourse students of media studies might be interested in. And there will be also a seminar on the notion of interface critique, which is for me also an opportunity now in our dialogue to mention the journal we are running with the same title, Interface Critique. And the idea is to invite students to work on their essays and to use our journal as a platform, as an early career opportunity to publish their papers. And we hope that the issue for next year, which will be issue number 6, might be strongly based on student contributions, which I really like to open up journal platforms and publication possibilities for young scholars and artists as well.